Here are the young and the restless spoilers for next week, when most people are already at a party as they get invited to another. Here's a look ahead at the episodes we'll see from Monday, June 2nd to Friday, June 6, 2025. Next week, the festivities continue while celebrating Nikki Newman's birthday, but no one can deny their thoughts are elsewhere. For Kyle, he is using the opportunity to make a grand gesture to Nikki in front of everyone, but really, he has an audience of one: Victor Newman. Kyle is hoping to win over Claire's grandfather by impressing him, and then he will, in turn, be finally accepting of Kyle and Claire's relationship. It's not an original plan by any stretch, but will it have better results for Kyle than it did for Cole way back when? While the guests were getting ready to go to the Neil Winters Jazz Lounge on The Young and the Restless for Nikki's party, invitations began to arrive there and around town for many Genoa city residents. The personal invitations were to join Aristotle Dumas at his summer home in Nice, France, on June 13th for a private party, and the guest list grew quickly. Victor, Nikki, Nick, Victoria, Jack, Diane, Laurent, and Michael. Across town, Damian was surprised when he got a knock on his door and handed an invitation as well. Just as he was telling Lily about it, her envelope was delivered. Next week, the party continues, and so do the invitation deliveries. But when Billy gets his, Sally balks. She thinks Billy should stay in town, as it's a crucial time to hunker down and work on opening the company, which Billy claims is a priority. Billy tells Sally that nothing means more to him than her or Abbott communications, but he needs to find out what Dumas has planned for his family. Other than Lily and Damian, the rest of the Winters clan haven't received invitations yet, but Nate has been busy taking care of Amy. Amy and Audra have grown close, and Amy has leaned on both of them for the past several months as they tracked down Damian, reunited with him, and especially dealt with her health crisis. Now that most of Amy's worries have taken a positive spin, she tells Nate that she's made some decisions about her future. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers update for Monday, June 2, reveals that Audra Charles will get blindsided while Nick Newman faces a romantic pop quiz. Here's what I and our fans can look forward to in Monday's hot episode. At Nikki Newman's birthday party, Devin Winters will tease Nick about escorting Sharon Newman to the party and question if anything more is going on. Nick will make it clear that Sharon is in the friend zone along with Phyllis Summers. Devin will be impressed over Nick staying on such good terms with his exes, especially after his own continued tension with Amanda Sinclair. Nick and Sharon will also catch up with Ashley Abbott, who'll get uncomfortable when Sharon brings up Martin Laurent and all the chaos he caused. Abby Winters will fret over Ashley and her mental health issues, but Ashley will postpone the discussion about her return to therapy and try to focus on the bash. As for Pietro, he'll be rather starstruck when he chats with Nikki and gets her gratitude for helping Claire Newman with the party prep. Nearby, Michael Baldwin will decide he can't avoid Victor Newman forever, so he'll join him and try to launch a conversation about Aristotle Dumas invitations. Victor won't want to discuss anything with Michael now that he's quit, so Michael will be hurt all over again. Even so, Lauren Fenmore Baldwin will push Michael to stay strong and avoid letting Victor draw him back into his orbit. Jack Abbott, Diane Jenkins Abbott, Victor and Nikki will also talk about Dumas' party as they speculate about the motives behind it. Once Kyle and Claire are ready to move forward with their attempt to win Victor over, the lights will dim. Claire and Kyle will bring out Nikki's elaborate birthday cake before Kyle makes a lovely speech about all the reasons to admire Claire's grandmother. After comparing Nikki to the queen on Victor's chessboard, he'll hand over a box containing an engraved charm bracelet. It'll have all the names of Nikki's grandchildren and great-grandchildren, so she'll be thrilled and will embrace Kyle to thank him. Unfortunately, Victor will stand there looking unmoved by Kyle's efforts to tug at his heartstrings. This can't be good news for Kyle and Claire's relationship. At Society, Audra and Nate Hastings will be surprised when they find Lily Winters and Damian Kane sitting together. That'll lead to Nate questioning the pair about whether this evening is for business or pleasure. After Dumas' assistant fires Damian over the phone, Damian will share updates with the group. Lily will worry that Dumas might have figured out what they were planning, but Damian won't think it matters since he was about to quit anyway. However, Lily will suggest it indeed matters if Dumas intends to go after Winters after all. There will be more talk about protecting the company before Lily insists this party will serve as her chance to grill Dumas in person. Since Damian's firing means Holden Novak is out of a job too, he'll wonder if Audra is hiring for Vibrant. An unsettled Audra will make excuses to discourage the idea, but Damian will play up what a great employee Holden would be. Here are the young and the restless spoilers for June 2. When Claire and Kyle pull out all the stops to impress Victor and Nikki, Lily plots to meet Dumas, and Damian asks Audra for a favor. On Monday's episode, Nikki's gala continues as family and friends gather to honor the legend. Nikki knew about her party, but Claire and Kyle were hoping to pull off a big surprise. Claire feels that if Kyle gives Nikki just the right presents, then Kyle will win over her stubborn grandfather, Victor. What present could Kyle possibly come up with to please both Victor and Nikki? Will Kyle bestow Nikki with a material gift, or will it be something from the heart? Lily has received an invitation to meet with Dumas in mid-June in France, but she may not be able to wait 2 weeks for that to occur. On Monday's show, watch for Lily to plot to meet with Dumas. Is she hoping to see him before everyone else who's been invited will lay eyes on the mystery person? Lily's already struck out with Amanda, who doesn't hesitate to work into the conversation that she's not the one who has let Lily and her family down. If Lily is going to ask Amanda once again to help her meet Dumas, she may have to take a different approach with Dumas's attorney. On Monday's show, watch for Damian to ask Audra for a favor. Is he going to reach out to the rising cosmetics star on his behalf, or will he ask her for a way to help Lily? He hasn't exactly hidden his attraction to Lily. We bet he'd be willing to call in a favor from anyone to show Lily how much he cares about her. If Audra comes through for Damian, he might be in a better position with Lily. The young and the restless spoilers reveal that we have to ask, will Summer Newman come home pregnant? Could a baby daddy mystery be brewing? Summer flew off to Milan on a mission to find replacements for Chelsea Lawson and Sally Spectra. There's been some talk on the show about the hunky Italian designer who's been tapped as Marchetti's new creative director Phyllis Summers, and Nick Newman have been intrigued over Summer's budding romance with this guy. Summer might come home carrying this mystery man's baby, so that's an interesting angle to consider. The show could use some baby drama, so a Summer recast might eventually debut for a new pregnancy storyline. That could set the stage for Summer's Italian beau to arrive in Genoa City as well. Of course, My and R could really shake things up if they take advantage of a rewrite or two. What if Summer landed in bed with someone off-screen before she left town? The show could insert some false flashbacks and make it seem like Summer took one last roll in the hay with Chance Chancellor. Maybe Summer and Chance shared a final night of passion around the time they made their breakup official. It could have been a way for Chance and Summer to say goodbye. Even some secret Summer and Kyle Abbott passion is possible if Y and R wants to go there. Rewrites don't usually line up with what was previously shown on screen, but it doesn't really matter as long as they deliver exciting curveballs. Whatever the case, it'll indeed bring some excitement if the show ultimately recasts Summer and lets her come home expecting a baby. A pregnant Summer shocker could bring some great stuff, so stay tuned for updates on whether this possibility might become a reality. May was a month filled with music, love, and complex emotions for Tessa Porter on The Young and the Restless, and Kate Fairbanks brought every beat of it to life with her nuanced, heartfelt performance. Whether she was offering Daniel quiet comfort as he navigated his grief or wrestling with her own insecurities in her relationship with Mariah, Fairbanks turned Tessa's vulnerability into undeniable strength. Fairbanks shone brightest during Tessa's scenes with Daniel. Watching her gently guide him through guitar lessons, it was clear that Tessa wasn't just teaching chords and strumming patterns. She was helping him reconnect with a part of himself he thought he'd lost. With a quiet, steady presence, Tessa provided not just a distraction, but a pathway back to hope. Fairbanks gave Tessa a lightness and an empathy that felt authentic, making those moments resonate deeply with viewers. Of course, it wasn't all about Daniel. Tessa's scenes with Mariah revealed another layer to her character, her deep-rooted fear of losing the woman she loves. Tessa's worry that Mariah might be upset about her revealing details of their life to Ian was palpable. Fairbanks portrayed Tessa's guilt and apprehension with such honesty that you couldn't help but feel for her. Even in her moments of doubt, Tessa's love for Mariah was unwavering, and that love was written across every expression Fairbanks wore. What makes Kate Fairbanks stand out this month isn't just her ability to play vulnerability. It's how she imbued Tessa with both grace and grit. In every scene, Fairbanks brought Tessa's layers to life. Her quiet wisdom, her unshakable loyalty, and her willingness to fight for the people she loves. With her understated yet powerful portrayal, Fairbanks reminded us that strength isn't always about being loud. It's about showing up, being present, and offering love when it's needed most. This month, she made Tessa Porter unforgettable. The Young and the Restless has stirred the pot with Tracy Abbott's lingering feelings for jailed ex, Martin Laurent. Despite his absence, his shadow still looms. Could this signal a dangerous comeback? Tracy's latest memories may open the door to Martin's terrifying return. In a touching scene, Tracy shared bittersweet memories of Martin with Diane. Though Martin deceived her, pretending to be his twin Alan, she seemed unsure about her feelings. Her voice cracked as she questioned if any part of their romance was real. The Young and the Restless might be planting seeds for a major shocker. While she's processing the betrayal, Tracy channels her emotions into a book. But what if Martin gets his hands on it behind bars? Books are allowed in prison, and Tracy's story could trigger Martin's obsession all over again. That's a chilling setup fans can't ignore. Soap fans know no one is ever gone forever, especially not someone as twisted as Martin. Whether he's released for good behavior, breaks out, or fakes insanity, there are several doors open for his return. The question is, what happens when he shows up again in Genoa City? Martin's reappearance could lead to explosive drama, especially if he feels Tracy is slipping away for good. If he sees the book as betrayal, he might lash out. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that this storyline might take a dark turn fast. If Tracy visits him for her research or interviews him for closure, it could reignite old flames or old nightmares. Martin may want Tracy back, but she may not want him. That rejection could be the spark that sets everything ablaze. The Young and the Restless may be slowly laying the groundwork for a thrilling return. Martin's exit wasn't final, and Tracy's book could lure him back to Genoa City with revenge on his mind. Stick with Soap Opera Daily for updates on what Martin's twisted future might hold. In The Young and the Restless, Adam Newman sets a bold and dangerous plan into motion, aiming to both protect Billy Abbott and destabilize his father Victor's control. Collaborating with Chelsea Lawson, Adam orchestrates a high-stakes hoax involving a fabricated financial threat tied to the enigmatic Aristotle Dumas. The scheme's intent is to shift Victor's focus away from Billy, who's been targeted in the Newman family's ongoing power struggle. Using Newman Media, Adam initiates a public scandal, falsely suggesting that a powerful, secretive billionaire is about to expose financial secrets in Genoa City. Chelsea quietly reaches out to bloggers and media insiders, feeding the narrative. The deception reaches its climax at Nikki Newman's birthday party, where a mysterious video message from Dumas circulates, throwing Victor into immediate crisis mode. Victor, sensing a threat to his empire, launches an investigation, deploying hackers and private detectives to uncover Dumas' identity. Behind the scenes, Adam and Chelsea watch nervously, fully aware that a single misstep could expose their plot and lead to Adam's permanent exile from the family. As the fabricated scandal gains momentum, Victor begins to detect subtle inconsistencies in the digital trail. He initiates an internal probe, eventually uncovering Adam's involvement. Although Chelsea remains mostly hidden from suspicion, Victor faces a tough choice: expose Adam and risk public fallout, or resolve the issue quietly to preserve the Newman legacy. In a tense confrontation, Adam confesses his intentions, not to destroy Victor, but to shield Billy from more of Victor's retaliatory schemes. The exchange lays bare years of pain, resentment, and unspoken truths between father and son. Meanwhile, the media storm triggered by the fake Dumas message sends shockwaves through Newman Enterprises. Stock prices fluctuate, public trust wanes, and opportunistic rivals circle like vultures. The fallout is immediate and far-reaching. Independent investigations are launched. Reporters dig into Chelsea's past, while Adam grapples with the consequences of using deceit to win a war. Even Billy, who was supposed to benefit from Adam's plan, finds himself entangled in suspicion. Former allies distance themselves, and his relationship with Lily begins to fray under the weight of uncertainty. The stakes escalate when a real hacker group demands Adam reveal Dumas' identity or risk having Newman's confidential data leaked. Under intense pressure, Adam refuses to back down, even as Chelsea pleads with him to step away. The turning point arrives when the real Aristotle Dumas finally surfaces. He invites Victor to a secret meeting in Paris, revealing he has full knowledge of Adam's hoax and is prepared to sell the information. Victor, realizing the potential damage, negotiates with Dumas to suppress the scandal. Yet Dumas also contacts Adam, offering him a chance to betray Victor and join forces in return for power and profit. Adam is caught in a moral and strategic crossroad: loyalty to family or a future built on betrayal. Chelsea warns Adam not to cross a line he can't come back from, while Billy uncovers details of the Paris meeting and makes a bold decision to investigate it himself. As the drama unfolds, each character is drawn deeper into a web of lies, manipulation, and ambition. Back in Genoa City, Victoria covertly consolidates shareholder support, moving closer to seizing power. Victor, increasingly isolated, senses that the threats are no longer external but within his own family. The episode ends with Adam and Dumas facing off in a high-stakes negotiation in Paris, where the next move could change the future of Newman Enterprises forever. The Dumas scandal, though originally fabricated, evolves into a real threat, exposing the fragility of trust and the relentless hunger for control that defines the Newman dynasty. As old wounds resurface and new alliances take form, the question remains: who will come out on top in this war of secrets and survival? At Nikki Newman's birthday celebration, elegance and opulence set the stage for what should have been a magical evening. The grand event featured white rose petals, crystal chandeliers, and the soft strains of a string quartet. The Newman Estates ballroom filled with Genoa City's elite, dressed to impress and bearing lavish gifts. Victor Newman, ever the commanding figure, stole the spotlight with a dramatic birthday surprise for Nikki, a restored cherry red Ferrari she had dreamed of for years. As the crowd applauded and champagne glasses clinked, Victor presented the antique key, turning a decades-old fantasy into reality for Nikki. For a brief moment, she was radiant with joy and pride, reveling in the love and attention surrounding her. However, the celebration was quickly overshadowed by mystery and tension. Nick Newman discreetly handed Victor and Nikki 2 black envelopes, their origins unknown. Though Victor reassured Nikki they would open them later, unease quietly rippled through the room. Speculation swirled. Could this be a hostile takeover bid, a blackmail threat, or something more personal? Amid this uncertainty, Kyle Abbott arrived early, brimming with nervous anticipation. He had planned to propose to Claire Grace Newman in front of the guests, hoping to gain Victor's reluctant approval through a bold public gesture. With encouragement from Victoria, Kyle resolved to carry out his plan, believing love and sincerity would break through Victor's steely facade. Claire entered shortly after, graceful and striking in a midnight blue gown. She and Kyle shared a tender, silent exchange, signaling their bond. But her glance toward Victor suggested she, too, was aware of the uphill battle they faced for acceptance. Despite the glamour of the evening and the gleam of the Ferrari, tension simmered under the surface. Just as Kyle prepared to propose during a toast, the weight of the night's suspense, and perhaps the reality of Claire's divided loyalties, tipped the balance. Off-screen from the public eye, Claire reportedly rejected Kyle's proposal in anger and discarded the engagement ring. The reasons remain murky, possibly tied to family pressure, unresolved secrets, or the ominous envelopes that loomed over the evening. As the party wound down and guests danced under twinkling lights, Nikki clung to the illusion of a perfect night. But beneath the surface, the black envelopes, Kyle's heartbreak, and the whispers about Flynn Dumas's true intentions hinted at coming storms. In the latest dramatic turn on The Young and the Restless, Nikki Newman's lavish birthday party, an event designed to reflect elegance and unity, turned into a power play marked by humiliation and shattered dreams. Amid flickering candlelight, classical music, and a guest list drawn from Genoa city's elite, the night took a tense and unexpected shift when Kyle Abbott attempted to extend an olive branch to Victor Newman. Kyle entered the event with high hopes, dressed impeccably and carrying a symbolic gift, a custom charm bracelet from Paris, intended as a heartfelt gesture to honor Nikki and bridge the divide between the Abbott and Newman families. With Claire by his side and hopeful for reconciliation, Kyle delivered a speech infused with respect and optimism. The moment seemed to hint at a new beginning until Victor intervened. In front of the entire room, Victor coldly dismantled Kyle's well-intentioned gesture. With a piercing stare and cutting sarcasm, Victor dismissed the speech as flattery and labeled Kyle's efforts as immature manipulations. His rejection wasn't just personal, it was public and strategic. He reasserted the rigid hierarchy of power, declaring that no Abbott, especially not one like Kyle, could win over a true Newman with sentiment alone. The fallout was immediate. The atmosphere chilled, whispers filled the room, and Kyle stood visibly humiliated. Even Nikki remained silent, unwilling to challenge her husband's authority. Claire, who had meticulously helped Kyle prepare every detail, was heartbroken. Her vision of uniting the two families disintegrated in seconds. Victor's rejection was not merely of Kyle, but of Claire's aspirations, strategies, and emotional investment. Kyle, unable to accept defeat, made a second attempt to redeem himself, which only intensified the humiliation. Victor reiterated his disdain, not just because Kyle was an Abbott, but because he found Kyle's approach clumsy and transparent. The stinging rebuke cut deep, both for Kyle and Claire, who felt her own dignity crumble alongside his. In the aftermath, Claire was left emotionally devastated. She had gambled her love and her family loyalty on a fragile hope. The illusion that love and strategy could soften Victor's iron will was shattered. She realized that in the Newman world, power trumps sincerity, and approval is never given lightly, even to family. Kyle quietly exited the scene, leaving Claire to confront the painful truth alone. The celebration meant to symbolize unity, instead became a harsh reminder that in Victor Newman's world, only the strongest survive, and any miscalculation is ruthlessly punished. For Claire, this event marked a turning point. No longer the hopeful granddaughter trying to bridge impossible divides, she now faces a new reality, one where she must find her own strength, independent of Victor's approval or Kyle's companionship. The party's glitter has faded, but its consequences will echo for a long time. In the latest developments from The Young and the Restless, Genoa City's elite find themselves entangled in a web of ambition, secrecy, and high-stakes manipulation. Lily takes center stage as she abandons her traditionally cautious approach, opting instead to confront a rising force, Aristotle Dumas. With Victor Newman's influence casting a long shadow, Lily sees an opportunity to tip the scales by aligning with Dumas, a mysterious figure whose black and gold invitations have been quietly shaking Europe's upper class. The intrigue intensifies as Lily aims to attend a secretive party in France, believing it to be the key to infiltrating Dumas's inner circle. Meanwhile, Damian strategically partners with Audra, tasking her with leveraging her social connections to gather intelligence on the guests and Dumas himself. For Damian, this is more than reconnaissance. It's an opening move in a complex power game. Simultaneously, Kyle and Claire maneuver to gain favor with Victor and Nikki. Their coordinated effort to host a grand event is designed not only to impress, but also to symbolize unity among Genoa City's fractured factions. Claire shines with poise and charm, while Kyle, despite feeling Victor's scrutiny, demonstrates growing maturity and ambition. The party in the ancient French castle is a visual spectacle, opulent, refined, and charged with political tension. Beneath the glamorous surface, the gathering operates as a quiet battlefield. Lily, adorned in emerald elegance, exchanges veiled glances with Dumas, signaling the beginning of a fragile alliance. Dumas presents a compelling vision, one free from Victor's dominance, but Lily, seasoned by years in corporate warfare, remains wary of promises that come at the cost of integrity. Damian and Audra continue to operate like covered agents, watching and adapting. Damian plans to exploit Audra's proximity to influential figures like Amy Lewis and Nate Hastings. Audra, torn between personal ambition and ethical restraint, finds herself walking a dangerous line. As Damian nudges her toward manipulating Amy and Nate, Audra must calculate every move carefully to avoid jeopardizing her position. Claire and Kyle, meanwhile, prepare for Nikki's upcoming birthday party, an event with personal and strategic implications. Claire hopes to earn Victor's approval of her relationship with Kyle, while Kyle understands that proving his loyalty and love will require navigating the deep-rooted expectations of the Newman family. As the celebration unfolds, Nikki remains graceful and composed, though she senses a growing storm on the horizon. Victor, ever the tactician, keeps a watchful eye on Claire and Kyle's every gesture. Their emotional pleas for acceptance are met with stoic skepticism, shaped by Victor's long history of betrayals. At the same time, Damian continues to manipulate the chessboard. He dangles the promise of power to Audra, urging her to extract critical information from Amy and Nate, even targeting the elusive Holden Novak. Audra, though cautious, is slowly drawn into Damian's agenda, risking everything in the process. The evening's melodic ambience masks the storm of unspoken rivalries. Amy and Nate, unaware of their roles in Damian's scheme, inadvertently reveal secrets during heartfelt conversations. Audra collects these fragments, quietly relaying them to Damian, while Holden begins to notice inconsistencies in everyone's behavior. As the night reaches its climax, the fragile alliances begin to shift. The French soirée, orchestrated under the guise of unity, is in truth the prelude to a deeper conflict. Lily's bold engagement with Dumas marks the start of a new chapter in the power dynamics of Genoa City, one where the lines between loyalty and betrayal are more blurred than ever. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Phyllis Summer's true love may be waiting, but 3 roadblocks must be cleared first. Some challenges need to be conquered if Phyllis ever hopes to find a solid relationship that's meant to last, so let's talk about them. Unfortunately, Y&R keeps giving Phyllis business story after business story. There has to be more to life than Phyllis' professional goals. Whenever Phyllis has a paying gig, she's usually busy sabotaging it. When Phyllis doesn't have a job, she's constantly making pitches and obsessing over her hunt for one. If Phyllis ever hopes to find true love, she'll need to move beyond this work obsession and actually spend some time dating. Next, Phyllis needs to let her grown children live their own lives. Summer Newman is in Milan at the moment, so that's no doubt helping Phyllis fixate on her a bit less these days. Likewise, it felt like maybe there was a turning point between Phyllis and Daniel Romalotti Jr. recently. After Daniel refused to team up with Phyllis on her chancellor plans, he pushed her to accept that he has to figure out his own path. Daniel has been trying to convince Phyllis of that for what feels like forever, but she finally seems ready to back off a bit. That doesn't mean Phyllis will ever stop caring about her son and trying to fix what's broken. However, it does mean that Phyllis is hopefully moving away from her obsession with helping Daniel heal and find his purpose. Daniel has to do those things on his own, and now that Phyllis is starting to understand that, it could free up more time for her personal life. Phyllis went through a terribly traumatic ordeal thanks to Martin Laurent, who held her hostage along with Sharon Newman. That took a major toll on Phyllis, who's been leaning on Nick Newman a bit more lately. Of course, Y&R has tried pairing up Phyllis and Nick on many occasions, but it always ends in disaster. It seems like a waste of time to have Phyllis turning to Nick when she could be opening her heart to someone else, especially since Nick's got her firmly planted in the friend zone now. Phyllis deserves true love and a fresh romantic story, so let's hope she can conquer all the obstacles standing in the way of that. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis could be gearing up for a new relationship sooner or later, so stay tuned for updates on any big news on the horizon. Young and Restless, unfortunately, has not brought the drama and excitement we would normally expect during May sweeps. That said, the mystery surrounding all things Aristotle Dumas continues to build, if nothing else, anticipation for a reveal. Amanda's return brought with it some satisfying scenes between her, Abby, and Devon. That's still a sore spot, but the best scenes of May sweeps were much more subtle than a confrontation. They came when Tracy opened up to Diane about her feelings about her continued struggle with the horrific heartbreak, betrayal, and deception brought into her life by Martin. This was riveting not only because of the talent of Beth Maitland, but because Tracy brings the heart to this soap opera, something that has gotten lost in a sea of business-related plot points and forced couplings that are unable to make us truly feel. What's going to happen at Dumas' swanky bash on the French Riviera? If I was a betting woman, I'd advise Billy Abbott to put all his money on Dumas revealing himself to be Kane Ashby, who slunk out of town 6 years ago and somehow built an empire. All signs point to it being Ashby, and it's surely no coincidence that Lily mentioned him for the first time in Neons on Friday's episode. The bombshell is sure to rock the Genoa City attendees to their core. To start with, he'll be sporting a new face, that of Days of Our Lives' Billy Flynn, and will almost certainly lost the Australian accent. But that's not all. Billy will be mystified as to why Kane would want to help him take back Chancellor. Damian will discover that the woman he's interested in is, in fact, his boss' ex-wife, and Victor will be in utter disbelief to find out that the one man who he hasn't been able to keep 10 chess moves ahead of is a one-time grifter with a background in bartending. We won't even be able to blame him, because it is impossible to believe. How could Kane possibly achieve all of this in 6 years with no one knowing? Has he hidden his entire life from his kids? Where's it all going? Aside from a possible Damian/Lily/Kane love triangle and a bunch of bunk about Chancellor Industries that remains to be seen. I'll be honest though, given how Young and Restless began to feel like the Claire show after the writers brought her on board, I'm leery that we're headed for the Kane show next. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Lily Winters must do one thing after King Ashby is revealed as the man behind Aristotle Dumas' empire, and it should bring a must-see party moment. Dumas has a summer home in Nice, France, which is where he's invited a bunch of Genoa city residents to come for a private bash. According to the invitations Dumas sent out in Y and R's May 30 episode, this shindig will begin on June 13. Naturally, any party held on Friday the 13th is going to be a bit eerie. There's sure to be a weird vibe as everyone gathers and waits on Dumas to finally come out of the shadows at his own event. All the evidence points to Billy Flynn playing Dumas, who should be revealed as Kane Ashby at this party. No one will be more shocked than Lily when she realizes her ex-husband is the one behind all the riddles and hoopla. Lily's been fixated on trying to crack the case of Dumas' hidden agenda and has been extremely worried about her family's company. Despite Amanda Sinclair's reassurance, Lily doesn't trust Dumas and has definitely been on edge. You can bet Lily will be absolutely furious when she discovers Kane, the father of her children and someone she used to love, created this mysterious fake persona. Instead of just telling Lily the truth, Kane's been playing games and making her lose her mind over this entire Dumas situation. That's only going to add to any grudges Lily's still holding over the heartbreak Kane put her through. Lily will have every right to be angry with Kane and rip into him over his deception. That brings us to that must-see party moment we mentioned. There's one thing that Lily absolutely has to do when Kane is exposed as Dumas, and that's slap him. Lily is presumably gearing up for the soap smack of the century and should leave quite a mark on Kane's cheek when the time comes. Kane will deserve that and a whole lot more, so we can't wait to watch Lily put him on full blast. Of course, there will be plenty of other party guests who will want their turn to rip into Kane and hurl questions at him. If everything goes how we suspect it will, Flynn's debut as a Kane recast should be memorable and dramatic. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some stunning Dumas news is on the way, so stick with us for updates on all the excitement. The Young and the Restless spoilers preview video for the week of June 2 to 6 reveals that Billy Abbott will decide he's leaving the country against Sally Spectra's wishes, so he won't be able to resist Aristotle Dumas' invite. I and R's weekly promo kicks off with Nate Hastings and Audra Charles talking to Amy Lewis, who's finally listening about the importance of a positive attitude. Amy will mention that she's come to a decision about her future, so she'll have some important news to share with Audra and Nate. At Nikki Newman's birthday bash, Claire Newman will assure Kyle Abbott that she'll save more than one dance for him. Kyle will definitely look forward to hitting the dance floor with Claire, but he'll have something to take care of first. It turns out there will be one more move Kyle wants to make in hopes of swaying Victor Newman's opinion of him. Although Kyle's initial efforts to win Victor over may not go very well, it sounds like he'll throw in an extra surprise. Claire was counting on Kyle's grand gesture to make Victor see the light, so Kyle won't want to let her down. Unfortunately, there probably isn't a gesture grand enough to convince Victor that Jack Abbott's son would ever be a good match for Claire. Next, it looks like Billy will receive a Friday the 13th party invitation from Aristotle Dumas, and there may be one for Sally as well. Regardless, Sally won't think it's a good idea to attend this special event at Dumas' summer home in Nice, France. Although Sally will question Billy's priorities, he'll assure her that she means everything to him, and so does the company they're building together. And yet you're willing to leave the country at such a crucial time for Abbott communications, Sally points out in Y and R's weekly preview video. Billy will stand his ground and argue that he has to find out what this guy's got planned for his family. Since Jack and Diane Jenkins Abbott are also invited, Billy will be on edge over Dumas' motives and will want to investigate what's really going on here. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sally may just have to accept Billy's decision, so stay tuned for updates on any romantic drama this could cause. The tension rises on my and our, the young and the restless moments to watch for the week of June 2 to 6 feature Nikki's party and Phyllis making some propositions and waves. These are Soap Hub's most anticipated moments next week in Genoa City. Claire&Kyle are determined to turn Victor and Nikki's heads, proving they can not only think like power players, but act like them too. Expect to see them pulling every string and flashing all the charm they can muster to finally earn the Newmans' approval. With their futures on the line, Claire&Kyle are willing to take big swings, whether or not those moves land in their favor. And it looks like they might note, since Victor ends up plotting Kyle's downfall before the week ends. Meanwhile, trouble brews closer to home for the Newmans as Victoria receives disturbing news that threatens to shake up everything she thought was secure. This bombshell doesn't just rattle her, it drives her to open up to Nikki. Their heartfelt conversation will show a raw, vulnerable side of Victoria, but will it be enough to give her the strength she needs to face what's coming? In another corner of town, Phyllis drops a curveball that catches Nick completely off guard. She approaches him with a proposition that's as intriguing as it is unexpected. Will Nick be tempted to align himself with Phyllis again, despite everything that's happened between them? Or will he see this as yet another one of her self-serving schemes? And just when Billy thought things were settling down, he finds himself right back in the middle of the storm. With Phyllis and Sally circling each other like sharks, Billy struggles to keep the peace. Can he play mediator without losing his cool, or will his efforts only add fuel to the fire?